In this lesson, we'll be working on creating the tab shape. Up to this point, we've been starting our sketches on the default front, top, and right reference planes that are included with each part template. In addition to these, SolidWorks includes a reference geometry tool that allows you to add reference planes. However, SolidWorks conveniently allows you to use faces of the model to define the sketch plane. And when you have a face of the model, such as this face here, it's not necessary to create additional planes. To begin a sketch on the face of this model, I can simply click on the face and select the sketch icon from the pop-up here. Alternatively, I can switch over to the sketch tab of the command toolbar, and when I click the new sketch icon from here, SolidWorks asks me to choose a plane, a planar face, or an edge on which to create a sketch for the entity. So I'll click this face here, and when I do, SolidWorks puts us into Edit Sketch mode, as you can see from the status bar and these icons up here, and Sketch 2 is added to the Feature Manager tree. Since SolidWorks didn't automatically rotate us to look normal to the sketch plane, I'll press the spacebar on the keyboard and click the Normal to View orientation so that I'm looking straight onto the sketch plane. Although the face of this model is a small rectangular face, it's really defining an infinite plane that we can sketch on. What I mean is, when I click the rectangle tool and define a sketch anywhere in space, if I rotate the model a little bit, you can see that we're actually sketching on an infinite reference plane which is defined by this face. I'll look normal to the sketch plane again by pressing the spacebar and selecting the Normal to View. To get rid of this geometry, I'll box select it and press Delete on the keyboard. Now to create the tab shape, I'll start by using the Line tool, which I'll activate using the shortcut toolbar. I'll begin the line so that the endpoint is coincident with this top edge of the model. Paying attention to the number next to my pointer, I'll make sure it's relatively close to the final size. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. We'll use dimensions to define the actual size a little later. I'll click again to create the endpoint. And next, we're going to create an arc that connects this line segment to another angled line segment. Now, SolidWorks does include an arc tool, as you can see here on the sketch toolbar, but I'd like to show you a nice shortcut that you may find very convenient. With the line tool still active, SolidWorks provides a way to quickly switch to the arc tool simply by moving the cursor close to the endpoint of the line, and without clicking anything, simply moving the cursor away from the endpoint. Now you can see that the arc tool becomes active, and I can move this arc from one side to the other. Notice that if I want the arc to go below the first line segment, I can simply bring my cursor back to the endpoint and move my pointer off in a different direction. I'll go ahead and sketch the arc that I want, and then all I have to do is click to define the endpoint of the arc. When I do, SolidWorks automatically brings us back into the Line tool. This is really convenient for creating arcs quickly when you're sketching a chain of lines. I'll snap the endpoint of this line onto the top edge of the model. And when I do, you can see that there are actually two yellow flags that appear. The coincident icon informs me that the endpoint is coincident with this top edge of the model. And a tangent icon appears to let me know that this segment will be tangent to the arc that we created. Finally, I'll close this profile by bringing my pointer back to the first endpoint.